position in New York for the mayor of Boston. That's very hard to get. That's the first time. I love you. I don't usually make demographics such a big deal, but like, how did you become mayor?
You know, many days
of Boston.
I asked myself that question too.
Yeah. Well, what's the answer? How did you?
So I grew up in an immigrant family, and it was never, ever in the list of things that you were supposed to think about or do.
Yeah.
I just did what my parents wanted, worked hard, played piano, played badminton, did all the things.
Yeah, went to Harvard Law School.
And so I found my way to Boston for school, and in the midst of all that, my mom began to really struggle with mental health challenges. So I found myself in my early 20s, raising my two younger sisters, taking care of my mom, and Boston has really given me everything that I cherish in my life. The healthcare that saved my mom's life, the schools that helped me and my family get to where we are, and now I get to raise my family with my husband Connor. We have two boys in the schools, a 2-month-old little girl, and it's the best city in the world.
Okay, that's great. First of all, New York forever, and second of all, so how did you become the mayor of Boston? Instead of answered, like, I don't know if you've been to Boston, but this is not the demographic for mayor of Boston. Like, you came to my show when I was there. When I was doing stand-up there, you were very nice. You came, sold out shows at Wilbur, not to brag, and you came, and my DJ was there. My DJ is like a Chicago Korean American guy, and I was like, oh, that's the mayor of Boston, and he was like, what?
You might be surprised by Boston. Next time you come, we'll have to take you around a little more.
But how did you convince these guys?
We're an incredibly diverse, welcoming, beautiful city.
Okay, that's
we are majority people of color. We're 28% people born from another country.
Yes.
And Boston is a place where people have always come for almost 400 years to make good in the world.
But also...
Okay, don't make me go against New York here. Better sports teams, better quality of life.
They gave you a standing ovation. Why did you? No. This isn't about New York versus. This is not about New York versus Boston, because New York is clearly better. I'm saying. No. It's not about that. It's not about who's a better city, which we clearly are. It's more that how did you get those guys to vote for you? Because this is not the demographic that. How did you convince them to put you in charge?
I've been through a lot with my family, and in those hardest moments, it often felt like government was the place we had to fight against instead of something to help us through, you know, in the middle of the emergency room or trying to navigate the school system. And there are so many families out there who are working their hardest, trying to do their best. And in many ways, we just have to make sure that the supports that are needed are not only there, funded, but also connected to every community. That's what I've been fighting for. I got to serve on the city council for 8 years, and that's why I ran for mayor.
Okay. But right now, it feels like everyone, you know, everyone hates politicians now more than ever. Like, why did you what made you want to put yourself out there to get into this, you know? It's a very thankless job.
It's not a new thing, I would say. I remember all the time growing up, my parents would say to me and my siblings,
we hate the mayor.
In Mandarin, like, when you grow up, get a job that pays well, is very stable, and won't get you in trouble. So I've now been dragged before Congress, threatened with criminal prosecution, working really hard. But at the end of the day, this is where it matters. All of the programs that we put in place to keep the streets clean, to make our schools actually supportive for our students, to protect people in our communities in a really scary moment. That is what city government is for.
Sure. And so, again, like I think you won your last election at 64% of the vote. Was that right? Is that wrong? So you're incredibly popular in Boston, and they trust you to run the city. How did you convince these Boston people?
To say it. I ran to make sure that families would have a place in our city.
And they just believed you? They just believed you? What?
And you back it up with work. Every day that I served on the city council, I was out in neighborhood meetings. I was writing policies that we now have in place to protect our communities and give people opportunity. And it's about making sure that everyone feels part of the decisions that are being made.
Okay, you see, this optimism, I can't. So you became mayor of Boston at like 36, which is pretty insane. Like it's like, you know how
You're saying I did just turn 40, yes.
Yeah, I know because we're
40th
born in the
birthday.
same year. So I'm like, damn, this woman became a mayor already. I'm still here telling dick jokes. But like this, no, but like something about Boston. You're like the youngest successful Boston person running Boston since like Theo Epstein, the best of the Epsteins. He was like the youngest GM of, I don't know why they trusted you. I mean, obviously you're very good at your job. What's the toughest thing you face in Boston?
Boston is a very passionate city. We cheer hard for our sports teams, and people look at politics and government and being involved in the community the same way. And it's pretty hard to make the greatest city on earth even better, but we are working every day to make sure that housing costs can be brought down.
No, but okay, so you're mayor, you're running the day-to-day of the city, right?
Yes.
What's like the hardest thing day-to-day, like mayoring in Boston?
I think it's that people have a lot to say, and everyone's voice has a place in our community. And when you have so many decisions that come after a long history also of being a place where for 400 years, people have stood up for the right thing, fought hard to make a difference, finding that consensus is complicated. It's beautiful. It's a hard job. You can't fake it in Boston. People will call you out.
Right.
So you have to show up everywhere and keep working. And it's a hard job, but it's the best job, and I love it.
Okay. So, like, you... all right, so right now, you ran as a Democrat as well. Democrats, I don't know if you've seen the news lately, incredibly unpopular in this country. I could not be less popular. Everyone hates everything they're doing. So how do you, everyone hates that, like, I don't know what they're like 10% popular, whatever it is, it's horrible. How do you, as a Democratic mayor, like, do outreach to what I assume is a large percentage of your constituency that probably voted Republican and MAGA and Trump?
Yeah, we have a lot of different views in Boston, like in every community. I think we tend to be a place that speaks our mind and remembers our history as the community that's always invested in the greater good. We're home to the first public school in the country, the first public park, the first library, free to and open to all. And so, at the end of the day, we might not vote the same way or worship the same way or watch the same types of shows or follow the same influencers or whatever.
Yeah.
But you still want your streets to have potholes filled. You want your kids to go to the best schools. And you can't get away at the local level with just talking the talk. You really have to be out there making a difference.
So you're saying you outreach by focusing on...
Doing the work.
Doing the work that everyone agrees that should be done. Is that your method for success? Actually just
and you
doing
just
the work.
have to keep... It's a little thing.
Yeah. So that's actually what you found. I'm genuinely curious how... I know you don't find this weird. I'm telling you, most people watching this are like, how the hell
Let me tell you a little bit more about Boston.
You didn't tell me Boston. Boston's my childhood Chinatown. Okay, I know
That's
Boston.
true. That's true.
I used to live in Manchester, New Hampshire. You drive to Boston that was like our local Chinatown. We would go there for supplies to bring it back to New Hampshire. Because I don't know if you know, there's not a lot of Malaysian grocery stores in Manchester, New Hampshire. So we would go to Boston to get it. So I know Boston. That's why I'm even more surprised that you became
But Boston, even today, is probably different from those days. We are the safest major city in the country, and it's... Thank you. But our historically low crime levels now, we're at the lowest levels in at least 70 years when we first started reliably tracking. And that has come at the same time that we have invested the most in affordable housing, created more affordable housing than in 25 years, invested in the most ever young people in paid summer jobs, early college, childcare.
Do you think people are feeling this on the streets in Boston?
There's a lot of work to do everywhere.
Okay.
But I think generally we want everyone to be involved in Boston.
Yeah.
We talk about where we've been, where we need to go, and there's a neighborhood meeting every other day or multiple a day. So lots of ways to get involved.
Sorry for hopping on about this because obviously you're very popular in Boston. My thing right now is I'm wondering whether I can get a Democrat who's actually popular, which is very rare in this country. Every time I get to sit to someone who actually, it seems like both sides of both tribes seem to get behind, such as yourself. I kind of focus on the kind of the outreach to the other tribe more. So, for example, if someone was to tell you, you know, like recently you testified in Congress about sanctuary cities, you know, which is one issue in many things, and you defended yourself well. What do you say to the people who in your constituency who might feel like, hey, why are we doing this? What's the big deal with this sanctuary city thing? If people are illegally in the country, shouldn't we arrest them and get rid of them? What is the big deal?
Yeah, we are, again, we're the safest city because we're safe for everyone. In a community where over a quarter of your residents were born in another country, if people are afraid to drop their kids off at school or call 911 when they need help or share information when they actually have information to report about a crime that happened, that makes everyone less safe, whether or not you are an immigrant, whether or not you're here in this country 6 generations or just arrived. So we're really focused on being that home for everyone, and it's worked. And so all of the buzz around, you know, whether these kinds of cities that are more welcoming for immigrants are more dangerous, it's about a false narrative that immigrants are somehow more likely to commit crimes or cause harm, and that is just simply not true. We know that in our city, where our immigrant communities are entrepreneurs, are holding up the best hospitals in the country, the universities and jobs that we all rely on. And in order to make sure that we can keep that progress going, everyone has to feel part of it.
So, I guess, I mean, look at these, I don't know, what these people from Boston or something. I don't know what's happening here. These people came in from Boston. So what advice would you give to the Democrats running now about how to not be such losers? Or like connect to the people more. It seems like I don't know, I truly don't understand what's happening, because every day on this show we talk about some bullshit that happened and then nothing seems to matter, and then I guess nothing matters anymore. So there's clearly a disconnect between the Democratic Party, or maybe politics in general, if you're being generous, and the common people. Right? There's something weird happening. Like, do you feel that way?
Yeah, and I mean, in some ways, my entire life I've felt that way. In my family growing up with immigrant parents, government was scary. Government was the thing you were supposed to stay away from. It was parking tickets and taxes and all sorts of things that, you know, you just try to do your thing and stay out of trouble.
And now you're the government.
But I got into it because this is how to make a difference. And you can change people's lives every single day by just doing the work, by trying your hardest to focus on what is stressing out the residents in your community, and day by day building on it to turn that around, involving people in the conversation, and becoming a city where, again, we are home for everyone. And I think that's what it comes down to. If we do the work, if we listen to what people are saying about what's challenging in their lives, and we really focus on not just today, but tomorrow and the generations to come after us, that is the legacy of Boston, and that's the legacy that I'm really proud to be able to carry on every day.
Okay, so, well, look, I mean, I don't know. If you can become the mayor of Boston, maybe, you know, one of arguably the most racist cities in America, then maybe there's hope for everyone yet. I mean, I don't know. I hear that there's a...
Next time you come to Boston, you're going to have to schedule an extra day, and then I will take you around all the city, and then
to get yelled at by racist white people.
We are an incredibly diverse and welcoming city.
Yeah.
And we're a city that really is the example of how everyone in our community, again, majority, people of color,
we can all get together and tell immigrants
and
to
make friends.
Yeah. I don't know. I got a lot of love for Boston. I just, you know, they were nice to me when I was there. But there is a stereotype with the city, which you are totally, I don't know. So I don't know how I still don't understand how you got elected. I mean, obviously you're good at your job and you're charming, all that. But that was enough for them to convince them?
The Boston of today is a different city than a lot of people think. But even the Boston of today we have a lot of work to do, just like every city, just like every community. But
No, New York City is perfect. I'm not sure if you've been out there. This place is great. We got rats and feces. I hear that there's like a secret WhatsApp group of Asian mayors. I met the mayor of Cincinnati.
A very small group, yes.
Yeah.
Aftab and me,
Yeah.
and Bruce and Todd.
Can I join this group chat? Put me in. Put me in. I'll help you guys out. Okay, look. Mayor Wu, you're the best. Thank you for representing all Asians. Thank you for making the city of Boston great. Appreciate all you do. I know it's a very thankless task. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu, everybody. Okay?